and on the third day he shall rise again. Alright, now let's compare to what's written in Scripture to the forensic evidence on the Shroud of Turin and see if it matches up. No less than 7 forensic pathologists confirm without doubt that a genuine person made contact with the shroud. He was dead, he was mocked with a crown of thorns, he was scourged, and he was crucified, and there's no evidence of decomposition on the shroud, meaning that the body that was in there was not there very long, less than 3 days. We know for a forensic fact the man in the shroud was dead. The knees are in a locked position from rigor mortis. Who buries someone with their knees raised? Unless the body was in rigor mortis and you were in a hurry to get the body in the tomb. Just like the historical record in the burial of Jesus. There's a post-mortem side wound. That's a no-brainer. That means the person is dead. First stage of rigor mortis is what? The eyelids, the neck, and the jaw stiffen up. And you can see on the man in the shroud, his jaw is stiff. It's locked up. I mean, you can see visible teeth. And the final clue, the slightly swelled stomach. That doesn't happen until 48 hours after death. So the man in the shroud has been dead for 48 to 72 hours, and then his body was risen during the image process. So this matches the whole passage right from the beginning. The man in the shroud, he's mocked, he's scourged, he's crucified, he died, and on the third day he rose. He was risen. That is what the forensic evidence says happened. In order to have distance information on the shroud, to have colored versus uncolored fibers, which represents the distance the body was to the cloth at the time the image was formed, that means what? That means the body had to be raised off the ground. There had to be a separation between the cloth and the body, and that means risen. So the man in the shroud was risen after 3 days. Bear in mind, the bloodstains are first, and the image is over the bloodstains. They are 2 separate events, and the forensic evidence tells us that this image process took place 48 to 72 hours after the blood made contact with the cloth. Those are the forensic facts of the case file, and they are indisputable. Anyone in disagreement is in disagreement with no less than 7 forensic pathologists and blood chemistry experts. We know for a forensic fact wrapping a dead body in linen will not leave an image behind on the cloth. We have over 1,000 burial cloths from antiquity that had bodies in them. Not a single one has an image on it except this one. And that's because this body and this linen was resurrected. What this really is a 2 plus blank equals 4 type challenge, and only one answer fits. The only person this can be is Jesus Christ. He's the only person in history we know of that was mocked, scourged, crucified, died, placed in an expensive linen, and told people previously he was going to be risen on the third day. And that is exactly what the forensic evidence says happened in this case. Jesus himself said, "This evil generation keeps asking me to show them a miraculous sign, but the only sign I will give to them is the sign of Jonah." Now look at the right side of the man of the shroud on his forehead. What is that? That's the sign of Jonah. It's also on the heel, on his heel, on the back of the head, and on the sudarium of Oviedo 4 different times. I've never seen in any crime photo in the history of my life or any morgue photo blood take on the shape of a number 3 and be on the side of a head or on clothing or on tools or weapons or blood splatter on walls or whatever it is. I've never seen it. I do not believe it is a coincidence. Ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at the sign of Jonah on the Shroud of Turin. Beyond any reasonable doubt, beyond any doubt, the man in the shroud is Jesus. The shroud has properties of a photonegative, an X-ray photo, and a hologram. Both a transmission hologram and a reflection hologram, but yet is neither. It is not a hologram, it is not an X-ray photo, it is not a photonegative, it is a combination of those 3 things. So the shroud image is what? A photographic X-ray holographic image. That said, how many other dead bodies have left a photographic X-ray holographic image behind on a burial cloth or linen as a result of making contact with it? None. So this argument, well, that could have been any person in that cloth. The Romans scourged and crucified a lot of people. That argument doesn't fly at all. We could take 1 million different dead bodies right now, all scourged, crucified in the exact manner of the man in the shroud. Pour myrrh and aloes over the bodies. Wrap them in every kind of fabric ever known to mankind, and we will never get an image like we see on the Shroud of Turin. So we have established a very important forensic fact. What is that fact? Putting a dead body, wrapping it in linen, will not leave an image like the shroud behind. The only image that you would have would be the bloodstains as a result of body-to-cloth contact. There's not going to be a thin, superficial image over those bloodstains.